So I'm going to tell you this story about how I was inspired to work with animals. I'm really fortunate because I work in a field that I dreamed of working in when I was a kid. So a lot of the times when I'm at work, people will ask me, well, what inspired you to work with animals, and what were those transformative experiences that you had? You know, my background is in teaching, and they would always say, what was the teachable moment? Ooh, now you can hear me better now. Anyway, so I always go to kind of two things. There were two major places as a child that inspired me to work with animals. And the first was that my best friend grew up on a turkey farm. And so there were plenty of opportunities because I spent most of the 80s on Saturdays at my friend Krista's house. One of the things was that her dad, who was the farmer, would give us a bucket. We would walk through the turkey barns with thousands of turkeys. She would always say with pride, oh, Dad got 10,000 turkeys. And we would go and we would pick out the dead ones with a bucket. So like, even though they were dead, they were like these precious little things that I could see up close. So, you know, as a kid, that was kind of cool. And then the other thing was that she had some steer at the top of the hill. And I remember the first time that I realized they were there, I was running towards them all lovingly, like a girl in a field with flowers towards these cows. And I go and I grab the fence, and it was electric. And I just fell down and hurt my little butt. And I think her mom had a small heart attack because she didn't quite run as fast as me. But I still love cows. It didn't completely destroy my love. I continued to forage, you know, go forward to move towards my goal of working with animals. And so that was the first kind of situation that I always go to, which is my PC story about why I work with animals. On the record story. The off-the-record story happened at the Berkshire Mall in Berks County, and that's where I'm from. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and she would stick me and my little brother, Michael, in the Astro van circa 1986. We would drive to the Berkshire Mall, and we would park in our special parking lot, which, you know how when you go to the mall, there's always that entrance that you always use based upon the stores that you frequent most? And so as a child, the store that was the most intriguing to us was this place called Your Pet Place. And it was kind of generic, but it was our pet place. And we were really lucky because we would have two opportunities to go to Your Pet Place, when we came in and when we came out. And so, you know, with hope deep in our souls, Michael and I would hope that they would put a puppy in the bin at the front of Your Pet Place, because we weren't, it's funny that I work with animals now because my dad despised them and we weren't allowed to have pets. But we would hope that this puppy would be in the bin at Your Pet Place. And sure enough, on this magical day, the puppy was in the bin. My mother was probably really psyched that the puppy was in the bin because she could get 10 minutes to herself and sit on the bench and watch us play with the puppy in the bin. So joy, playing with the puppy in the bin, wore out our time with the puppy, and then moved back to the bench where my mom is sitting. And Mom's sitting there, and she's talking to this little old lady. And it wasn't really all that unusual for my mom to talk to random people because she just was a very approachable person. She's really pleasant. I think maybe I've inherited part of that. I'll be walking around New York City, and someone will ask me for directions. And I've lived here for 14 years and was in Berks County before that. So I don't know, people ask me questions. So it wasn't that unusual, and we go over. And I was pretty young. I was probably about 7, but I do very vividly remember this because she's talking to the little old lady, and they are looking at these little Polaroid pictures, 4x4 instant Polaroids that are printed out. And there is this little white dog in the pictures. And so Michael and I are intrigued. You know, we just saw a puppy, and now there's more puppy time. And she looks at it. My mom's like, oh, well, that's a really tiny puppy. Is it a puppy? And the little lady's like, oh, no, it's a teacup poodle. And my mom's like, wow, that's so tiny. That's only 4 pounds or what? And she's like, oh, yeah. My mom says, well, how did you get it to sit in that little bed? And the lady's like, oh, it's not a bed, it's a coffin. So my mom's like, oh, the puppy died? And she's like, yeah. So there are two things you can take from this story. You can be the person who's like, wow, that lady is really shocking. She's disturbed. She put her puppy, her dead dog in a coffin, took pictures of it, and then showed it to somebody she didn't know. The other thing you can take from it is that that lady really loved her puppy. She really treasured it. And looking that I've been in this career for about 14 years, I think I'm more likely the second choice. So thank you.